It's Sunday morning, and I have a message. And today's message comes from the book of Samuel, chapter 2, verses 22 to 24, and it states, Ooh, Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he said unto them, Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. Ye make the Lord's people to transgress. And so, as leaders, as teachers, as preachers, we have to live our lives better because people are watching. People are watching to learn how to live a godly life. And so we're responsible to role model that. Now, Eli's sons were named Hophni and Phinehas, and they were wild boys. They were all Levites. Eli was a Levite. And the people were like, nah, your boys are. Mm-mm. Meanwhile, remember the story of Hannah, who was childless, Hannah and Elkanah, and she was childless, and she cried in the temple. Well, Eli was that priest that she cried to, and she said, well, he said, like, God's going to bless you. And she says, if I have a son, I'm sending him, giving him back to God, dedicating him back to God. And so Samuel, round about 5 and up, was raised in the temple with Eli. And so God chose Samuel to follow Eli because Eli's sons were horrible. So remember that Elkanah too was a Levite. And that's why they came up every year, because he had to do his Levite duties, his Levitical duties. And so Samuel became the high priest. Now, why did Samuel have sons? And his sons were horrible too. And they did horribly. And the people were like, nah. And God was like, nah, because the boys were in the army, and they took the Ark of the Covenant into battle with them, thinking like, we're taking God with us. And it got taken by the enemy. So Samuel has like a heart attack or something and dies. The boys die in battle, and the Ark of the Covenant is in the hands of the enemy. Old Testament is full of some very great stories. So we're talking about the 7 deadly sins, and today is sloth. Now, sloth is usually thought of as laziness or slow, but it's also like not working in your gifts, not working in those talents that God gave you, not working in them for the kingdom. Now, I didn't know or understand my giftings. I didn't think I had any. But I learned that my gifts are Old Testament gifts, that I'm a seer, not like a prophet like these prophets. Not these prophets that are like having conferences and prophesying over you. I'm not that kind of seer. I see what God shows me to see. And yeah, I was well and grown before I started even beginning to understand my gifts. Now, I don't totally understand them, and he's working with me through them, but that's part of my gifting. Um, so in that context, like people who are, I guess, fortune tellers and mediums, they probably are seers, but they went to witchcraft, which I have to say, I found my gifts in witchcraft too. And I dabbled when I was young. And, I had to get it together. God got me straight. Like showing me where my gifts are in this word. And yeah, so that's an example, though, of like people that aren't operating in their gifts for the kingdom. And so that's sloth, that's slothfulness, and that's a sin. But it's not just them, though. It's a lot of people not operating in their gifts. There are some people that are so good with finances, right? They work in finance on their job. And God gave them a gift of detail to attention, a gift of detail with money. And they do it professionally, but they're not doing it in the kingdom. Because there's a job for that. That's a trustee. But they're not operating in their job. Or people that are administrators on their job, they're supervisors and heads of things, heads of corporations, and they're doing all this wonderful stuff in the world, but they're not bringing it back to God, right? Bringing it back to God's kingdom. Everybody likes to say, oh, church is a business now, but church is a business. It's God's business. And God's business should be running smoothly. There should be no churches going under, because people need to treat God's finances like it's a business, not their personal slush fund, not their pet project fund. Like, that's God's money, that's God's business, and treat it like that. Because if people looked at it like they did their job, they would treat their kingdom work much differently. Well, I guess that's all. We have to begin to operate in our gifts and start using them for the kingdom. And even if you don't see your gifts, they're there. You look in the Bible, your gifts will show up. You can try a gift assessment, but you know what your strong points are. Your strong points are your gifts. All right, well, we can talk more about gifting at another time, because the whole point is you're not operating in your gifts. And that's the problem. Start operating in your gifts and start using them for the kingdom. Join us again next time when In His Will Ministries International presents It's Sunday Morning. Until then, bye.